Julia Islam, everyone. First of all, thank you all for joining on this session. So, first of all, I would like to welcome our guest, Sir Wangchuk, for our founder of LSF, Sir Tashi, who is always in people who work for the student and welfare for the student of Ladakh. So, I will give a very short brief introduction about LSF. LSF is Ladakh Science Foundation and Trust, so founded by Sir Tashi, and LSF working on the scientific to work on the scientific development or temper or interest in Ladakh, and we did work on many things. Now we'll start a new initiative called this Unlock Global Opportunities. So with this vision, we'll start this series, and our first guest will be Sir Wangchuk, and I will keep the medium as English and Hindi. So I don't want language as a barrier for the others or an excuse. So I will give a short introduction about our speaker, Mr. Wangchuk Namgyal. Currently, he is a director of sustainable and community outreach and director of operation at Stonehenge Group of Hotel and Resort. He holds a master in international and development studies with a specialization in environment and sustainable from Geneva Graduate Institute, Switzerland. He also served as a fellow at Oak Foundation, Geneva, and he is also a young Indian fellow from Ashoka University. So first of all, I would like to request Sir Wangchuk kindly give an introduction about your journeys from your hometown to Switzerland. We would love to hear. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, sir.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So first of all, I would like to thank Ladakh Science Foundation. Kat Ashile is also here. I wasn't expecting. Thank you so much for taking out your time. The impact of what you have done is very visible in our society today. And thank you, Gapelle and LSF and Mission Uplift Ladakh for inviting me for this interaction. In fact, I have been thinking of doing this while I was still studying in Switzerland, that, because I had gotten this opportunity to study there, for those who are interested to listen to me, I had sort of planned also to share this journey, not as in, how to say, like the expert or whatever, but more like, sharing a journey of someone who is from Ladakh, studied in Ladakh in very, normal schools and, not even having a great academic background. And somehow I was able to, fortunately, I got this opportunity to study abroad. So I thought many of our friends in Ladakh, younger ones, and the students should also hear about this journey, and then they should feel that it's completely doable. It doesn't matter where you have studied, what is your, of course, there are certain factors, but nevertheless, it is completely doable, and then one should be confident to embark on such a journey if they wish to, right? So I'll just start with a presentation, and in that presentation itself, I'll be talking about my experiences also. So without having to, tell a story before even starting the presentation. So we'll just go with the flow, all right? So I want this to be a little interactive and fun, to not sound it too, too boring or too almost like a lecture. So I have tried my best to keep it sort of fun, and I hope everyone will also, take part also. So let me share the screen now. All right, is the screen visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, first of all, I just wanted to know, how is everyone feeling? It's already evening now, 6:14 now. If everyone can just type in the chat so that I also know the energy. How are you feeling? Very quickly, please. Perfect, pretty good, amazing, energetic, beautiful. All right, I think everyone, although it's evening already, I think everyone is pretty energetic and in a good mood to listen. So I'm glad to know that. As a speaker, you always want your audience to be very attentive to you, and also very, to get that very positive vibe. So thank you for sharing that. I'm glad everyone is doing good and happy. All right, I thought whenever I ask this question to someone, they feel confused, without even beginning the talk. I start asking, how are you feeling? Anyway, I had planned this Mentimeter, but let's skip that. Secondly, what are you here for? I would like to hear from everyone, what is your expectation of this interaction? Briefly, if you can type in the chat box. All right, experience in abroad, the process, learning about new opportunities, how to reach outside India. Great, great. Thank you for those who are sharing. If you haven't shared it yet, feel free to share anytime. The chat box is open for you. All right. Scholarships and schemes. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So yes, as I was telling you before, this is not like an expert talk or whatever, that people, resource persons comes and then they share the expert. I'm not an expert. I don't have a lot of experience also. I just happened to get this opportunity. Then I went to study abroad. I spent there around 2 years and 3 months, and it was a beautiful journey. And things worked out fortunately for me. And of course, there were a little bit of challenges here and there, but nevertheless, everything worked out, and I'm here today. So this is going to be more of like a sharing of experiences, and it's going to be more like interaction. And some of you are expecting about knowing about this scholarship, that scholarship, how to fill the form, those details. So I'll be giving the presentation in two parts. First part, my own experiences and kind of like a story, and through which I think that is going to be more beneficial, through which I want everyone to get this sense that this is definitely doable wherever you are, whatever you're doing today, and whichever college you are in, and whatever academic background you have before, whether you were a topper or not, whether you were among the below average, it doesn't matter. As long as you get a little direction about how to go about all these processes, I think you can definitely make it. So to make that realization happen to you, I'm going to help you with my own stories and tell you that how someone like me with my own stories, my own past, also, if I have done that, of course you can do it, right? So it's not really going to focus too much on the process of how we will apply, and I think that will come next. I definitely have a part at the end, around the end, few slides talking about the some of the scholarships, talking about how the application process happens. But before that, I'll be talking a little more. You might feel like it's too much of self promotion or whatever, but through that, my intention is not to promote myself, but through that, I want you to relate to my story and then feel that that is completely doable if you wish to, right? So I had this second thought, like, should I share my stories? Yes, maybe people would love it. Then I thought, no, it's unnecessary. It's going to sound like self-promotion. It's like humble bragging, that I'm very this and that, being humble, but at the same time, you're bragging about your humbleness. So I had this confusion, but nevertheless, I thought it matters. It matters. And why I thought that is that before my journey began for Switzerland, before I went to abroad, just 2 years back, 3 years back, I used to think that studying abroad, how is it even possible, right? You can see from this meme. I used to think that it's completely impossible. And that's perhaps many of you must be going through now. As far as the Ladakhi youths that I know, most of us go through this, low self-esteem, and we tend to think that we are very, somehow, these kind of things is not doable, whether be it because of financial reason, be it because of our past academic background, be it because of whatever. We think that it's not possible. I used to feel the same. And today I'm here in front of you after completing my master's abroad. So I thought, if my story can help you to relate, if my story finds relatable to you, perhaps that will encourage you, to apply. So I'm brave about my story, my journey. So very normal. I did my schooling from TCV Ladakh, the Tibetan school in Choklamsar, and then KV school in Delhi, 11th and 12th. And just like many of you, many of Ladakhi, I dropped 1 year, and I was in Jammu for that, preparing for engineering exams. And somehow, fortunately, I got engineering college at NIT Delhi, but things didn't work out somehow. I quietly dropped out of it without letting anybody know. Of course, it's difficult. I'm not encouraging you to do that. I'm not happy with that. I'm not proud of it, but somehow, things happens in life. So I dropped out from engineering college, and then I went through all these confusions: what I'm doing, what I'm incapable, I'm nothing. My life is over. Then somehow I got associated with Live to Love. His Holiness Yawang Drukpa's organization. Then I started volunteering there, and later on as a staff also. So that opportunity gave me, a space to explore my own skills, my own, everybody comes with some sort of skills, right? So somehow I was there, and that sort of gave me a new perspective to my life, my view about life and my view about studies, my future. Then I got little encouraged. Now that you are little encouraged, then you tend to think that, okay, chalo, let's continue our studies. Then somehow I did in IGNU. I applied for. I didn't want to do BA, BSc, BCom, because I got little tired with those. You get into that mindset that degree doesn't matter and all of that. Of course it matters, but that time I used to think that it doesn't matter. Many any karna. I don't want to do this also, that one also. So somehow there was this BSW, Bachelor's in Social Work. I saw that in IGNU, and then I did that, and then somehow, until when COVID happened, I got graduation from IGNU, Bachelor's in Social Work, and then COVID happened, and our work at the NGO sort of stopped, and then I thought what to do next. And then I had come across this Young India Fellowship in Ashoka University before, during our work with Live to Love, when we did this program called Naropa Fellowship. So Ashoka University's Young India Fellowship, I came to know back then. And then I started looking for the application processes. And then I got a good time basically to introspect what all I had done in the last 5 years, and then sort of framed it into a story, framed it in such a way to make the application stronger. Somehow I got the opportunity to study in the Young India Fellowship for 1 year on full scholarship. And then when you are there, you have all these bright students with different backgrounds, some people from best of the colleges. Now that you're in the same league, same classroom with these people, you get a little more encouraged, right? And then they were applying. I saw them applying for all these Ivy Leagues and abroad. So somehow I also just you know just went with it. I just applied to this institute, and then I got that. Somehow I received that admission, and then this funding issues were there. Somehow I did, with help of many of my friends, I did this fundraising, and it worked out. And then in Geneva, I had an opportunity to work for 1 year while studying at this philanthropy foundation called Oak Foundation in their environment program. And then my graduation happened. And then when you graduate, you again think, what next, right? What next is a big question, and it's very heartful. So I was also trying to apply for different jobs in these UN related agencies and NGOs, because that's the field I thought I'm interested in. And then I had a good conversation with the Mr. Stanzen Sapel. Many of you perhaps know that. And then we had a lot of you ask people when you are confused, right? We Ladakhi tend to not ask. We are very I don't know, is it shy or ego or what? We don't ask people. But somehow I had good conversation with him, and then I just landed up at the moment as looking after sustainability, community outreach, and operations at the Stonehenge Group of Hotels. So that's my journey. Now from here, forget about my story, but don't forget about the phases that I have seen in my life, and I'm sure all of you must have gone through or must be going through. You have moments where you feel like your life is over because you have dropped out from this and that and all of that, right? And then there are bright moments when you are doing good, right? And then there are other things like IGNU. So I don't know how many people can, perhaps because IGNU, many people consider it, chalo, master's level pe you can do a degree in IGNU. Bachelor's people undermine it, right? So, but the degree with which I went abroad is from IGNU. So while I'm not saying that the other universities are bad and IGNU is good, nothing like that. I'm just saying that you don't assume IGNU. People consider is ऐसे ही हो जाता है, हाँ ऐसे ही हो जाता है. Like it was not tough for me to get the degree from IGNU, but nevertheless, despite that, you should not think that, for example, if you are in a college which doesn't have a big name right now, don't think that that is going to be a factor which won't let you into something good university or Ivy League or best of the institution in India, right? Of course, many factors come into play, but don't make that kind of situations make you feel that from here my journey is only going downwards, or let's say I'm just an average kind of a people. So always think that it is doable, because it is doable. And that is my realization through my own story, that I was surprised myself, because while applying for this abroad studies, I thought, with the IGNU degree, who will give me the admission? But then I just thought, chalo, enjoy the process. I just trusted the process, and then I applied it just to get a feeling of how does this application process feels like. And then somehow things worked out for me. Anyway, so that is a short story. about my experience. Now I want to know, now that I've told my story to you, did it make you feel like, the story is relatable to you? Can you give me thumbs up or thumbs down? Well, I would like it if you can participate. Perfect. Some say a little bit, some feel that it was relatable. Perfect. Looks like majority can relate to it. Because I felt all of us, I mean, most of us study in a school in Leh, or doesn't matter, even if it is in some cities. And then till now, maybe things are changing over time. People tend to go for, their 11th and 12th somewhere in one of the cities, and then do their graduation without knowing much about what they want to do and all of that. So everybody's journey is similar. And then studying abroad is fancied so much that, or maybe people make it feel like it's so difficult that it's only doable for certain kind of people, with a certain family background, certain financial background, or maybe, who are coming from some of those top institutions in India, So I think just to this, my agenda, or let's say my intention about sharing this story was that, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, if you wish to apply for abroad studies, you can. You know, don't put a stop before even trying, right? So yeah, as I was telling you, I was also feeling like, how is this even possible, studying abroad? And then I crossed it. Now that I've told you the story, I hope you can cross this Jackie Chan wala meme and then have this feeling that you can do it. Now let's briefly go to the process. Number one process is, as I told you, that this remove this T from I can't do it. You just tell yourself you can do it. And then secondly, आइए शुरू करते हैं. Now let's begin the journey from today. Okay, because it is a time consuming process. So that's why if you think and don't act on it, then how will you even get, know about the process? First of all, nobody is going to spoon feed you. Nor can I. Uh, no one can. You have to put your effort into finding the right course for you, right institution for you, and according to the many other factors, like which area you want to go, which countries you want to go, and so on and so forth. So all of this you have to decide. So for that you have to start abhi se shuru karna padega, right? It takes a lot of time. So number one is forget that you can't do, you can do. So get that attitude first. And then number two, start now. Shuru karo abhi se. Right. Now let's go to the process. Okay, now that the process starts now. Okay, if you have just if mentally if you are saying that are you shuru karte, the process starts now. Now you start noting down, or you start already thinking about these processes. So this is general sort of a thing about abroad application processes. Okay, and in things might be, things might vary in different institutions, but generally in application you have a personal details and academic details, right? All your 11th class, 12th class, and all of that. Then you need CV, resume, right? Then you need a motivation letter. Some people say SOP or statement of purpose, some say cover letter. So that is one thing you need. And then English proficiency if you are going to UK, USA, and all of that, so which can be waived. Some institutions allow you that you can even submit a letter from your graduation level college. If the medium of studies there is English, you can just submit a letter sort of a thing from the college. So it varies. Most of the college needs IELTS or TOEFL. And then for those who want to do MBA, they need GMAT. And then I think STEM related, they need GRE. So these kind of exams are there. So as I told you, your process starts now. So you have to start noting down, and each of these steps will take time. So for that, you have to prepare in advance. It's not like one of the things that is different from admissions in many institutions in India, the general one, the old school one, okay? Because that's what I think. I think it's everybody knows that you need a mark sheet and a few of those certificates, and then according to a certain what is it called, cutoff thing, you get admission, right? It's different here. In this process, it takes time. You need all of these things. So for that, each of these steps you need to give time, put effort, but it's not undoable, right? It's not doable. It's completely doable. And then after GMAT, GRE, according to your course, then you definitely need letter of recommendation from your professors, earlier employer, or someone that right? So whether it should be someone, a big name, or someone who knows you. So all of these things, details, we will talk about later. Then there is a small application fee, usually something around $100 or something. So which there are also ways to get it waived. But for that, you need to ask the institution, the admission team in advance and request for that, justifying why you need the waiver. All right. So these are the process you need. Personal detail, academic detail, you have it already. Your mark sheet, your file is with you have it. For CV resume, because in India, at least in college level, or maybe until 11, 12, now things might be changing. In our time, like few years back, we never used to have resume or CV, right? Because it's not needed. And making CV will take a little time if you are doing it for the first time. So start making it today. You just have to look for samples. You start making it today. And it is a very good process, I feel, to also introspect about what you have done so far. And perhaps looking at your CV also, you can explore what are your interests, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, and then maybe move forward, right? So it is a very good process to also make you think what you have done so far and what you have to do next, right? So make CV today and build it consistently. Maybe most of us, us might have only, you have done till 10th, you have done this from this school, then till 12th, just this, and maybe nothing else. So you have to build it consistently, right? You have to do some internships, you have to start some initiatives. What Gafel is doing with the Mission Uplift Ladakh is one of the great initiatives that he has done. Tomorrow, when he applies for somewhere, that is going to be one of the biggest, what do you call that? A big thing for, a positive addition to his application processes. So this kind of thing, build it consistently. You can't build a CV right, in overnight. So you build it consistently with some initiatives, get in some internships, be part of some organizations here and there, so because at the end only your mark sheet has value, but it is not everything, at least in application processes for abroad. So you need a good CV resume, right? And keep updating it. Like every time you have done something new, keep updating it. And most importantly, tailor it, right? If you are applying for a very scientific program, then tailor it and highlight more of your science related initiatives and experiences. And if you're applying for something related to social work, then tailor your CV in such a way that it is, you are really interested and you have done something in that field. So you have to tailor it also. So CV making, if you don't have it, start making it, right? So all of these steps, the previous one, this one, I shuru karte hai. So you have to shuru abhi, right? You have to start making the CV now if you don't have it. Maybe many of you already have it. I'm not sure, but I'm just assuming that if it's someone in today's attendance, if it's someone who have no idea at all, I just want to push them that begin today, start today, and you will definitely, there's a very good chance that you can make it, to some program in abroad if you wish to, but you have to start from today. And motivation letter, SOP, cover letter, again, it takes time. Now this comes when you have finally chosen your program, chosen your degree. Then it takes time. You have to write your story time and again, put effort, because it also comes with a word limit. So in that limited words, you have to tell your story in such a way that you are fitting for that program and you have done something related to that program before, and then you aim to do something, in future, which will make great use of that program, like which will be benefited immensely from that program. And that's how you build your profile, build your cover letter, right? Statement of purpose. And then English proficiency, IELTS and TOEFL. It's not tough usually, but you need preparation. Exams always need preparation, right? So you need to prepare for these exams, and again, it takes time. So you have to get that, exams result all done ready before applying for application. So if you are thinking of applying for next year, if you want to start the process of application next year, you have to get these things done already, right? You have to start preparing your motivation letter, perhaps at least your story. You have to have your resume ready. They can then later on, according to the program, you can tailor it. If you don't even have a CV, then of course it will take a lot of time at the end. And then IELTS and TOEFL, whichever is needed. Again, you need to apply for that exam. You fill the fees, and then you have to have that required marks also. Now you don't want to waste money, right? So give it once, but prepare it and then give it once. And then I think the validity for these exams are 2 years or something like that. So you have to learn about these things also very in details. Then GMAT and GRE, if it is needed for you, if you stay in a STEM sort of a program, if you are taking it. And then letter of recommendation. Now you have to identify which professors you are going to request for that. Then they also need time. They are very busy, right? Professors and whoever they are, your manager from your previous work or whatever, they will also take a good amount of time, right? So they you have to think and at least make a list of who all you are going to request for that. And then later on, when the time comes, you can at least give them a month or two so that they can, give you the letter of recommendation on time. And then there's the application fee. Now, again, if you want to request for waiver, then you cannot wait for the last minute. You have to request and ask. There's no harm in asking, right? No application process will have it mentioned that your application fee can be waived, because of course they want to charge you, right? But again, you push and request them that my situation is this and that. Can you please, waive this? It might work, it might not work, but no harm in asking, right? And then, so that is a brief sort of a process of application for abroad studies. It might vary from program to program, details here and there, but this is just a general thing. And then in terms of funding, of course, you can fund, self-finance. If your family is able to afford it, that's great. Now, there are many scholarships. Now, for this, again, it takes a lot of time to research about these things. Yeah. Most of the time, university and the institute where you are applying, they have certain scholarships. So you have to apply for that during the application process. You have to apply for that. You might get it, you might not get it. Then there are foundations and organizations. Fulbright, I think, is not there right now, but Chevenix, Inlux, Felix. Now, this scholarship application itself takes a lot of time. Like you have to apply at least several months in advance. They have their own deadlines. That you need to prepare your own SOP and cover letter for this separate from your application process. So you see, you have to start at least a year in advance about all of this. You have to figure out the parallel to your application process. You have to figure out and apply for all of these different scholarship programs. So it's like you apply for 10 scholarships and then you might get one of them, right? And then at the same time, you apply for your program in the university. And then once you get that admission, then the scholarship organization funds you, right? So these two of these things goes parallel. So you have to prepare it in advance, right? Then there are government scholarships also. Sometimes it takes a lot of time. So overseas scholarships for ST and so on and so forth. So yeah, again, at least what I remember about this overseas scholarship for ST is that you have to apply it first, and every year a number of students gets it. Once you get it, then it's valid for maybe 1-2 years, and within that 1-2 years, now you have to apply and get admission in a recognized university abroad. So then, so the scholarship comes first in this case, and then the admission later. So there are a lot of these details that you have to put effort, give time, and then only you will naturally figure out how these things work out, right? So this is so difficult to spoon feed, so difficult to give a black white sort of answer, like how to get admission and fundings and everything done in abroad. Everything varies from program to program, country to country, but you have to at least start now. If you wish to go abroad for studies, you have to start now, and then you will naturally figure out which scholarships comes, like the application process for which scholarship opens around which month, so on and so forth, right? And then you can even take loans. So there is a Vidya Lakshmi portal also, which gives a government of India's portal through which you can apply for some loans. Banks also, of course, a lot of banks, they give loans. And I'm not sure if I should encourage you to take loans or not, but I could not take loans because some things didn't work out with me. But even if you take loans, it seems it's not a hugely, how to say, it's not like you have put a life in danger if you are taking loans. So everyone in abroad, most of them comes with loans, as I realized later on. So that you can also explore to some extent. Maybe loans are also possible, and then you can repay back. Sometimes you can even work extra abroad, and then you can perhaps repay the loans also. So you have to weigh, of course. So fundraisers, I did a fundraiser, things work out, but it might not work. But for that, again, you need a complete strategy and a good team who will help you, but it's uncertain. Don't rely on fundraiser. It might not work. So always have a plan B. Okay. So if you ask me, like, can you help me get admission abroad? Like, to surely get in. It's yes and no, right? I perhaps cannot help much. But one thing I can help you with is this realization, this understanding that I got through my own process. For you to get good funding options and a smooth application process, you have to start early. Don't wait until your graduation is done to apply for masters. already around second year, mid second year, you have to start looking for all of these things. And that's how people do it. Okay. That's how people do it. I am one of those ignorant ones. I had no idea about abroad process and everything because I never thought it is possible. But somehow things worked out for me very last minute. But that's not going to work with everyone, right? So for you, now that now that you know that you have to start early, you should start early for sure if you want to try to get abroad, because it takes time. As you see, there's many steps that you have to do, and each of those steps takes time. Okay. Now about the SOP and a lot of these things, this is something that I thought I'll share with you. Now, what is it when we talk about SOP, statement of purpose, and why do you even want to go abroad? If you have done something in past, does it have to be related to the program that you want to study going forward? So it takes time. So you have to list down. So what I did was during the COVID time, during my Lift Love time, I had worked with many programs, different kinds of programs related to environment, related to gender equity, and so on and so forth. So then I listed down all those programs, and then I sort of categorized them, and then I figured out which field is it falling into. Is it related to gender? Is it related to environment? Is it related to community work? Things like that. And then you build a story. It's not like building a story. Basically, you are organizing what you have done so far, and then that gives you a clear image of who you are so far in terms of your academics or experiences. So you have to align everything. So if you are applying, for example, for environment related, for example, so I'm sure you must have some experiences related to environment, right? Even if you have lived in a village in Ladakh, that is a lived experience itself, right? So you tailor it and you know make it related to environment. It's more about framing, right? Now you need to know that you are in village, living with the ecosystem, living such a sustainable way of living, because that's true, right? You are not lying. And then the subject of study, now you must have, you perhaps if you have studied biology or something, or environmental science, then you can put that into that story. And then your aim, what you want to do going forward, the background, maybe if you have lived in a village, then things like that. So and initiatives, if you have been part of some environment related cleanups or whatever initiatives you have, so you can sort of uh, try to connect the dots, connect all of this and make it aligned to the program that you are applying for, right? Then it would make sense for the application admission team. So they should feel that, okay, you come with a certain background, you have certain experiences related to that program, and then you are going to come for program and do wonderful job. And then you also have aim, which will benefit immensely from that program. So you see, I'm not sure if you are getting me or not, but so that is how you go about it. Even if it's just application process, you need to have a clear flow of your past, of your present, and your future aims. All right. But maybe some of you must be thinking that, okay, I haven't done much, but I want to study this, that. Everything is related to one another, right? Everything is related to interrelated, basically. So you can still, whatever you have, like this meme says, who is the best chef in this world? Like, so one of the, maybe some people will name this chef, that chef, but perhaps it's the ones who make the best out of what is in his refrigerator. So you have something, if you have lived in this world for 25 years, 20 years, whatever, you have something, right? So you just need to connect the dots and make the best, bring the best story, bring the best statement of purpose in this case, statement of purpose. And then if you have time, then as I was telling you before, like building the CV resume basically means now you are working on these things. Now if you want to study environment, then start and be part of environment related initiatives already. If you have 1 year, if you haven't graduated yet, then you need to consistently build that CV. So basically it means that you need to build that story, and it's not like lying or creating some new story, right? It's true, right? That's how you go about in life. You want to do something, you gain the experiences from here and there related to that aim, and then you reach that aim, right? So that's the thing. So don't feel scared if you haven't done much so far, if your CV looks very simple yet, but you still have a lot of time. Okay, I see many chats there. If there are questions, I'll read it later. Okay, it's been a long talk already. How are you feeling? You weren't listening? Was it nice? Is too much already sleepy? If you can quickly tell me in the chat. Gafal, is it going fine so far?
Yeah, it's good, sir.
It's going
All
great
right.
for now, sir.
Perfect. Thank you. I see something long here, but let me read the questions later on, okay?
Question later.
Okay. So now that, for example, let's assume that you got the you got the admission process. Now you also need certain things that will be required later on, right? So passport, if you don't have, then you cannot go even if you have the admission. I know this is very simple things that everybody know, but still there are these kind of small things that you also have to think through beforehand. So passport, if you happen to have an expired passport, then you have to renew it on time. Then this in you have to apply for visa. So of course, when you get the admission, then you have to apply for visa. Now for that, there are certain process again. So again, for that, you need passport, reasons, the admission letter, those things. That's things you will know later on. When you get the admission, you naturally will have this kind of requirements that come. So it is a long process, but it's worth it. Once you get that experience, I mean, if you have worked hard, then if you get that experience, it's worth it basically. Then for residence permit, there will be health insurance requirement from in the country that you are visiting. So all of this administrative work that we are not used to, especially if we have grown up in Ladakh, because we don't need anything, right? So all of these things we will need, right? And then basic things like now your cards, you will need forex card for all of those things. Those are simple things that you will figure out now. At the end, what I want to remind you is be strong enough to stand alone, smart enough to know when you need help, and brave enough to ask for it. Okay, we have this tendency, even I feel that, I don't know if it's a Ladakhi tendency, or we don't ask for help. We just assume, and we reach nowhere. Like nowhere, as in like we are just too shy, or I don't know, for some reason, we don't ask for help. Asking help doesn't make you any small, right? It's good to ask for help, and then people will help you. Then you will reach somewhere better. Maybe it will take lesser time to 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 get where you want to if you ask for help, right? So always feel free to ask for help. That doesn't make you any small. And is there more slide? Okay, then I want to show you this quick Obama's video, which I thought was nice. It will be only, is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Always talk about before.
The sound is audible?
Yes.
Okay, listen to this carefully, okay?
Phil and I, we always talk about this when we are mentoring young people. We always tell them, do not let people think you do not belong. Because I promise you, once you sit at these tables, at these fancy places, with folks with fancy titles, and they got a big bank account, and you talk to them, and you go, oh, yeah, they ain't all that. Yeah. Right? This idea that somehow they are so special, they're so smart, they're so sophisticated. Not really. They've been exposed. They've been given the confidence of feeling like they belong. But if you sit down and talk to them, turns out they're just folk. Yeah, normal people. Normal people. What you always say about if you can speak English? We can talk to anybody that speaks English.
Okay, so that was it. I hope this video sums up whatever I wanted to say. It's too difficult, and also it doesn't make much sense to share about very much details about this process, that did, that will come later. First of all, I just want you to know that this abroad studies kind of thing, you belong there. Don't ever feel that you don't belong there. Don't ever feel that it's not doable. At least try. Then you will realize what is not working for you, right? So, and then as it was saying that, Obama was saying that some people might say no point of going to abroad, this and that, all of that. It's different perspectives, okay? My idea is if you get the opportunity, please go. Well, if you get the opportunity to study in any states of India, please go. But maybe at the end, whatever you want to do is a personal choice. But I believe maybe perhaps then you should think about doing something related to Ladakh, or coming back to Ladakh, or being somewhere else and do something for Ladakh. And that would be a good contribution. And unless and until you explore and you go and meet different kinds of people, you always feel that you don't belong there. So it's important that you first assume that you first aspire, how to say, like mentally, you tell yourself that you are nothing less, and you are nothing less than those who have studied in best of the institution or whatever, because you can also go there and you can also do the same thing. It's just looks fancy from outside. At the end, the other people are also just any normal person, like just like you. Okay, so with this sort of words, I want to end my presentation. I hope this has been beneficial, and then I am ready to take for Q&A.
Okay, thank you, sir, for your brief and very much interested this detailed PPT, sir. And I would like to add, first you were selected. People were saying you are lucky, you are lucky. Now it seems like they don't call lucky because there is so much struggle behind your journey. They often look as a result and say, "Oh, Wangchuk, you are very lucky. You got selected there or there." Now people will realize and say, "No, you are not lucky. You struggle and created it." Oh, thank you. We'll open the floor for the question. Those who have question, please raise your hand and we'll just unmute them.
Okay, I can end this sharing, right? Stop sharing. Okay, perfect.
We encourage you to just ask rather than writing, so it will be more beneficial and more interactive.
Yeah, unmute yourself. Question asked yourself. Ladasana student of. Please, you can ask any question.
Yes, please ask.
Yeah.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, please.
So I have a question, sir.
Yes, please.
What do you think about studying in United States? Currently, like the Trump thing is going on, the immigrant stuff.
Honestly, I have no idea. Yeah, those political situations are there, but you never know, things might change. So don't make that as a reason for not applying there. If you feel like you want to study in some of the institution in US, why not apply? If things doesn't work out, then okay. Someone has asked in the chat box that CGPA, some other skills. So yeah, as I was telling you, basically you need a very vibrant profile. That's what they look for. You have good CGPA, wonderful. It's amazing. You may not have a very good CGPA, maybe an average one, but don't make that, don't feel like you are not going to get accepted. So keep, building your profile, because at the end, you need a vibrant sort of profile, and that's what they look for in most of the abroad sort of this institutions. So of course you can upskill yourself in anything, and at the same time make sure that you also focus on getting a good marks and good CGPA, because to not have that is if you have a good CGPA, then of course it's a plus point, right? Now if you happen to not have such a good CGPA, then try to improve on that, because it's always going to help you, right? It's not like CGPA doesn't matter. It matters, but additionally you also focus on upskilling and building your profile, make it more vibrant, basically.
Okay, we'll take another 2-3 questions if anyone has.
Yeah, someone has asked about years of gap. Doesn't matter, but you need to usually what they look for is during those gap years, what have you done? So always, if you have a good justification, if you have worked on certain programs, if you have worked here and there, whatever you have to justify that those gap years. And it is even better if the work that you have done during those gap years is related to the program that you are applying for. Ideally, it's a trend for the people from Europe and US. I don't know, but they tend to take a gap year after their school, and then they go around. So this tendency is there. A lot of that they keep on doing some internship, something here, some work, some voluntary work, and that perhaps helps them to also realize a lot of things about themselves. Also, they perhaps you don't need to have the intention that whatever you're doing is only to make your application strong. Maybe it will help, but even even if it's not for admissions, it will still be very useful for you in life. So gap year doesn't matter. Just make sure that you have some justification for those years. How is the role of sustainability evolving hospitality and tourism sector?
Today I have a question is, like what difficulties did you face there in terms of like languages people, nature? Are they like accepting and all?
Yes, but not so much actually. If you especially go to the Ivy League or sort of this well-known institutions, they have a lot of international students. So, I mean, you have been to maybe Delhi, Jammu, or somewhere also. So initially you were in Ladakh, for example. So you faced a little challenge at the beginning, right? Maybe a few months, 1 year, 2 year, but usually you will get by. Those are not things that you should worry too much. Uh, so if you have been able to live in some other cities in India and you have adapted to it, it's as it is, like it's same like that. Yeah. And of course, when you apply for the programs, you have to make sure that those programs are offered in a language that you are comfortable with. Now, if you happen to take anyway, they won't give you the admission also if the program is in French, let's say, and then you don't have a French proficiency sort of a certificate. So yeah,
One more thing, David. So I have completed my BPMC course in India, and like the place where I studied is in Kerala. So from Kerala, most of the nurses prefers abroad, like UK, USA, Australia, Europe countries, Germany and all. So do you have any idea what is the scope of nursing in Switzerland?
nursing in Switzerland. Was it the question? What is the scope of nursing in Switzerland?
Yeah.
Hold on. Honestly speaking, I have no idea about nursing and also in the scope of nursing in Switzerland. Now, this is about work, right? It's not perhaps not about studies you're asking, it's about scope here and there and all of that. Of course, I'm sure there must be scope there. But one thing I really want to say is living, if you want to live abroad, of course, it's your personal choice. But there is this tendency of over fencing your life in Europe or abroad. And people think that, if they get the opportunity to go live there, they would want to, right? Now that's a personal choice. They don't have a place like Ladakh, right? So you have to think in many sense. So I had a long discussion even before going to abroad with someone here, and then he had good experience of studying abroad and working abroad. So, for example, okay, living standard there is nice because the whole country is better, facilities and everything better. Now, if you have to live, if you are working there, for example, you're getting something like 4 lakh, 5 lakh, for example, per month, the number seems high. Number seems amazing, right? Because if you're getting 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, and you're getting 4 lakh there per month, it sounds amazing. But then you have to look for the expenditure also. Then you are paying from that 4 lakh, you are paying 1 lakh, 1 lakh 20 for your room. Then for food and everything, you're paying another 80,000 something. Then I'm just jokingly sharing this. Okay, I've nothing against those who wish to go live abroad. It's personal choice. But just in terms of number, for example, because people think that there's a lot of scope to earn money outside. So when you do the calculation, 2 lakhs are gone. Then you have to have insurance, very complete strict insurance. It will cost you around maybe 50,000 there per month. So you are left with what, 2,000 or like maybe 2 lakh or something. Then you have your relatives home, your parents here. Now, since you're working outside, you have to send money here. So you keep sending that. And then you have to visit Ladakh twice a year, once a year. You think about flight tickets. You come here, then you have to be the sponsor. You have to be the ajang, right? Because you are working abroad. So then you being ajang, you are going to, spend all of your money and you are going to do no savings at all. And it's very difficult perhaps. So this is a reality that I have experienced myself. And I just want to be very honest, okay, because I had this conversation. I was fortunate to get this sort of perspective before even going there from a wonderful who is my boss here right now. Yeah, so he told me, and it makes sense because until you are a student there, you have many privileges there. The 3 months that I've lived there after my studentship got over, it was very difficult, high expenses, a lot of restrictions comes in, and we are going to be the foreigner there now. And of course, every country wants to protect their own people and give the facilities to their own countrymen, right? And then we'll face a lot of challenge basically. So scope, I'm sure there must be. I'm sure there are maybe good earnings also, you never know. But the over fencing of living abroad, as a great thing is this maybe it's one perspective. There are other perspectives also.
Julius, hello.
Julie? Yes,
Sir, I
please.
have a question that for an engineering students, like doing master in abroad, or if there is opportunity to work in companies which is well-known companies, but it is not a government one. So working and in getting an industrial experience, I think what do you prefer, like which is more fruitful in long-term growth?
Getting industry experience or what?
Like working in companies after graduation rather than going for master. Like what do you think in the long-term growth?
I have no idea about engineering field. Ka Tashile is there. Maybe he can guide you more on this. But generally speaking, it's good to have a little bit of work experience before going to abroad for studies. That's my perspective. Because then through that work experience, you will be building a CV for sure. That's a separate thing. But you will also get real life experiences after working, right? And then the program that you will do later on would perhaps make more sense to you, because I don't know how it is in STEM, but generally speaking, the academic system, the education system in abroad, at least what I've seen is that makes you think, that makes you work on your own. It's not like there's one exam and then you're over. So it makes you think. It encourages critical thinking and this kind of skills, and then you are put to take the responsibility of your own academia and everything. The studies that you are doing is not like somebody is spoon feeding you and then you just take notes and then you just you know memorize or whatever, things like that. But you have a freedom of exploring in that very field also. If you're doing environment, then for example, if you are doing the thesis, then if you have worked in the field before, then of course you know the ground reality more, right? Then you can perhaps focus your thesis on that also. So rather than just going directly, perhaps it will be helpful to take some experience in the industry, perhaps. But Kale would obviously can guide you more on this engineering related fields, right?
Okay, thank you, Sarle. For this,
Can I
for
take
the
one
audience,
question?
yeah.
Just as in the chat, I see this one. How do you see the role of sustainability evolving in hospitality and tourism sector in Ladakh, and what engineering solutions are most needed? What solutions are needed, I have no idea, but there is immense scope in sustainability in hospitality in Ladakh. Now, my sort of very brief the point through which I convinced myself to at least explore in this industry is, we talk about carbon neutrality and all of that in Ladakh, right? And then we also know that 70 or perhaps more than 70% of the economy, Ladakh's economy, depends on tourism, and that involves a lot of things, right? Now, of course, that itself makes it clear that there's a lot of scope in terms of sustainability, right? I mean, you can do a lot of things in your hotel operations, your hotel buildings. That's just the hotel part. Now, even in transportation and other things, all the things related to hospitality, I'm sure there are a lot of scopes. Solution, I don't know. That's what all of us need to come together and see and pilot and discuss. But hospitality sector and tourism sector in general in Ladakh has a lot of scope, and it is evolving now, not just in the sustainability part, just in general also. Now, Ladakh all of our educated people are slowly shifting. Their perspective about the hospitality sector is changing now. At some point, it was like only Jharpas and outsiders will come and work in the sector, and then those who are well educated are now, and until recently, those who are well educated are coming to Ladakh in the sector as Malik, as owners, right? Now things are changing. Now as professionals also, people are well educated Ladakhi people are getting into the hospitality sector in general, not necessarily only in sustainability, not necessarily only the hospitality students, because this industry can evolve in a very positive way, and it can grow. It can, there is a lot of scope to bring change in this industry, so that in the long term the impact from the tourism is a little lesser, but the gain from the tourism sector is much more. So Ladakh industry, tourism industry, I think, personally think is now waiting for all of our youths, well-educated youths, to come and be part of it, rather than thinking that like, I only want to be a Malik, else, why not as a professional also? Because this private sector is also evolving in Ladakh now, right? Private sector is also evolving in Ladakh now. So I think tourism sector is one of the biggest private sector in Ladakh, and then it has good scope, right? government jobs and all of that, it's good to aspire for that. It's wonderful. But again, how many government jobs can the government also provide at some point, right? At some point, we have to figure out something. I mean, of course, everybody fight for it, but if we say like only this or nothing, then maybe a little difficult, right? Then more educated people will come going forward. Then where will they all earn their living? So perhaps this is also something to think about, I guess. So there's a lot of questions. So sorry. Is Ashoka Uni for UG worth it, considering the perception that it's exclusive to rich people? My perspective, completely worth it. And in fact, I encouraged some people that please do go there. Now, why I'm saying that is, of course, it is filled with lots of rich people, but the fact that you are getting to sit with the rich people, that gives you again a lot of perspectives and helps you get a lot of exposure, which is much needed, right? Why do you want to stay away from the rich people? Why not just go on the same table? Exactly what Obama was saying, right? Now, of course, you apply. Its education system is like a broad education system. Unlike exams and all of that, there are exams, but more like paper writing, research papers, and things like that. I personally, in my 1 year of experience there, it changed my perspective about the so-called private versus government universities. End of the day, we must look for exposure, and exposure comes when we actually go and see and feel and experience it. So it's same, right? It's like the adrak bandar kya jane adrak ka swad kind of thing. But yeah, of course, if you're financially not sound, then you have to look and push for scholarship there. And then to get a full scholarship and studying in Ashoka, to my mind, will be more worth it than to study in another institution, which is cheap in terms of tuition fees. But yeah, I mean, following the same old style of education system, because it takes a lot of time to bring those changes, right? So you can look for it, look for a program there, and then if it fits well with you, and if the factors are working well for you, you should try that. If there are any internship opportunities available, please. Internship opportunities in Ladakh, you have bhar ki internship opportunities. Please reach out to those organizations. Just go, and they will be happy to happy to have you there. They'll be really, really happy to have you there. Even for example, Ladakh Science Foundation, I'm sure they're looking for volunteers. I'm sure they're looking for internships, right? They have a lot of work to do. So why not just be a part and give some 3 months, 2 months, or whatever time you have, but genuinely help. You just need a certificate, you just go there and being paying for them and then ask for certificates, then they won't appreciate it. But there's a lot of internships in Ladakh. Just go to all these organizations and just ask if they have any opportunities, and I'm sure they will have something. But can we rely on tourism for the better future by seeing all the ongoing scenario? Tourism sector, just like other sectors, I think is very vulnerable. But the current ongoing scenario, everything is impermanent, right? It will also change, and hopefully it will change for good. So if the current scenario is completely going to crush the tourism sector in Ladakh, all of us will crash. So I'm sure whoever is the stakeholders will make sure that this industry doesn't crash. So of course, there's a bright future and a wonderful future. There's so much of scope in the tourism sector. You might feel that it's a future going forward. I feel. What are the different criteria while choosing country and college in abroad? Just one question. There's so sorry. Criteria is your interest. Your interest and the kind of program. The most important thing that I feel you should look for is, please look for a good program. Don't randomly go for random sort of programs. At the end, you don't want to suffer for 2 years in the academia, in addition to all the extra administrative work related to tax, insurance, studying abroad, cooking yourself, living without your friends in a complete new environment. You don't want that additional stress, right? So please look for a good course, a course that sounds interesting to you, so that at least that part is sorted. Of course, there will be challenges during exam, challenges during your thesis and all of that. That's part of the package anyway. You cannot run away from that, because through that process itself, you will learn and you will grow, right? Other than that, there is no other criteria about choosing country. Maybe you look for the global scenario and then maybe perhaps go to a safe place. But other than that, of course, choose the program. That is most important. I think most important is you choose the program that interests you.
Thank you, Mr. Wangchuk Namgyal, for sparing your valuable time and sharing your experience with all the young minds of Ladakh. I compliment and congratulate your motivation of going for the further higher studies at Switzerland, and it was indeed a very proud moment for all of you. You said in your introductions, you studied from in Ladakh, TCV, then and went through ups and downs in your career, but nevertheless, you kept on pursuing your dream of excelling your life, and then in going for a higher studies that too in Switzerland. It's really a commendable job and commendable effort you made in your career progress. As you said in your course of introduction, course of your explaining about your the struggle for going for the higher studies, and particularly for the foreign universities, one has to apply well in advance. There are many criteria which needs to be fulfilled, and particularly when you intend to apply for the scholarships, it has to be planned in well in advance. That I think all other students should keep in mind. And any further like one-to-one, if somebody wants to have an further details, you can always reach out to Mr. Wangchuk. And I see a lot of enthusiasm from the younger ones, and I wish you all the best. And I thank Mr. Gapel. He's also one of our board of director of Ladakh Science Foundation, and he is also the founder of Mission Uplift Ladakh. Through that initiatives, he also takes a lot of societal development related activities, and we wish to continue this series. As you all know, that Ladakh Science Foundation for the last many years have been helping the students, and so now, and it has proved to be one of the most beneficial for the younger generation of Ladakh. We'll continue to do so, and there was some gap in between. Now we have again initiated this program, not only for the foreign universities opportunities, but also the people from Ladakh who has or achieved some level of recognition, achievement in their life. We'll try to bring in those people. We'll try to make it once in a big program. So I request others also to come forward. You need not be someone who has achieved something very big in your life. Even if you want to share some of your experience, anything that is related to scholarship, anything which is related to some job perspective, any new innovation in science. I mean to say not only science, like anything which you feel you want to share with the rest of your Ladakhis or the future generations, please come forward and share your experience with us. Our platform is open to all of you. Mr. Kapil will be the one of the coordinator. You can reach out to him or me directly. And once again, thank you, Mr. Wangchuk, for coming and sharing your experience in motivating our fellow Ladakhis, and all the participants for patiently hearing and attending to the last moment. Thank you, one and all. Thank you, Juliet Sangmala.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. See you in the next session.
Thank you, Kale. Thank you, Kapili, and everyone. Thank you so much.
Thanks.